We'll do this first, Dave.
Go ahead. That's actually not the one, I don't think. Oh, yeah, it is. Go ahead, hit play. It's a kind of self-introduction. I'll help you.
Good. Use those arrows. Right here? Yep. Okay. That was pretty powerful. I hope you enjoyed that kind of at our expense. But before I begin, I just wanted to say thanks to Carl for inviting me to this conference, to Beth Wallace, Jeff Insko, and Dave Hasmeyer from Inside Climate News, who he and I have interacted a lot to be able to work with a video like this. This area is called Wind Losses and Grumbles that we're talking about here. And after Ann's story, that's definitely a loss. I'm not sure I agree with who came up with that title. I would like to call it something like Landowners, your first line of offense. And I know the line is usually defense, but we're trying to be proactive about this and instead of reactive. And trying to, with myself and my issues, dealing with the pipeline company of Enbridge and my dealings to work together, and I don't feel as that has happened. Little history about me. The easement that we are on, we've lived along that Enbridge easement in my wife's family for over 40 years. It was actually sold to her, or she was paid for their easement in 1968. And fast forwarding in 2001, Enbridge Vector had installed a 42-inch natural gas transmission line, which is also adjacent to this construction work. And in 2012, Enbridge is proposed to install the new Line 6B expansion project, which you were seeing video of. During our pre-construction process, we didn't receive a lot of answers to our questions. We were trying to locate the right people. We were getting passed around, moved around. We would get names. Land agents would be constantly moved. We are on our 9th land agent currently, and we don't know if they're going to be there through the whole entire project. And once we contacted an attorney, which I believe we had the right to do once we did receive our proposal, we couldn't speak to a land agent. We were basically subject to talking to an attorney, so no matter what question we had in pertaining to what was going to go on with the construction behind our house, all had to be dealt with an attorney. And we were open for discussion. I mean, we were not closed off about this, but I think that any landowner has a reasonable legal right to have representation. And we were basically blocked out. Now, as soon as the paperwork was signed, which we were told that we should sign because we didn't have any more options, they were going to take it from us, then the land agents were reintroduced again. The project scope of work, we went through a couple different surveys, and the survey markers kept moving. We had trees that were over 40 years old growing above their easement. This is above their easement, not adjacent to it, but above it. So in 40 years, they never came through and maintained the top of their easement. Now, I've been told through other companies that they don't do this process because they don't want to disturb the landowners. But my concern is over 40 years, if their lack of concern for their easement above ground, what the hell is going on below ground? The topsoil was removed from the adjacent property on each side of our home, and we have construction almost on all four sides of our home. We have it in the front. We have it on the front. We also have it on each side and, of course, right behind our home. We were not told about some of the construction process of this. It's not in their literature. And I don't install transmission oil and gas pipelines. I'm a carpenter, cabinet maker. They do this every day for a living. They could have explained it to us a little bit better. We are not even at the excavation point. What you just saw was just site prep on adjacent properties. Enbridge has a 65-foot easement on our property, but they're choosing to work in the expanded work zone between their easement and our home. They're not working really on their easement whatsoever. They have this land that they can use, but they're not really choosing to use it. It was our understanding that in that additional work zone where you see all that equipment driving back and forth, that's where the soil was going to be placed for some of the excavation work. And we have yet to know when that's even going to start. In an attempt to alleviate the over 400 pieces of heavy equipment, some of them weighing up to 100,000 pounds, a temporary access road was proposed. The neighbor was paid for the access, but it was never built and still has not been built. At this point, it would be a moot point to do that because all the pipe has been installed on both sides of us, but not behind our home. Some of the issues we've had with the project. Obviously, the noise is terrible. 6 days a week, sometimes we get an inspection on a Sunday with equipment driving by, a truck or whatnot behind our home. We've had our smoke detectors go off because of the diesel exhaust coming into the home. We close our windows. My business, which you can see it's a little bit off to the side there, I was doing some construction, has been flooded twice due to the easement that they dug out, and it created like a channel or a gutter, and then all the rain came in and flooded me out twice. The project timeline was vaguely explained. We were told, 6 weeks to 6 months, and it's looking more like 6 months to a year, year and a half. We are definitely concerned about our safety with the pipeline within 12 to 14 feet of our home. We don't know what a moderate or minor leak would do if we were sleeping in the summer and we had a leak. Would we even be able to survive it? And once again, we feel like there's a lot of empty promises and answers that we're still not getting. Let's see, there's a couple more here.
Yeah, hit that.
So, with all that being said, I've got some issues. I kind of shoot from the hip sometimes. I've got some stuff written down here, and then I kind of just have all these things coming at me in my head. There is a close proximity report, an environmental report from Enbridge, and that was done in 2012 to the Michigan Public Service Commission. It talks about homes within so many feet of the pipeline, as well as water wells that are located along that pipeline. Our home is not on there. There's no standard that's on this mitigation plan and close proximity report that basically specifies from them under sworn testimony how many homes are advertently affected by this situation. And once again, my home, my neighbors' homes are all affected due to the close proximity of this pipeline. I came here not knowing what to expect to this conference. I've never attended anything like this. It's only been a year that I've been kind of involved in this. And to me, it's a great learning experience as a landowner. We don't often get an opportunity to talk to a lot of professionals like yourselves to try and understand really what's going on at our homes. Like I said, a lot of times we feel lost. I don't have an environmental group per se behind me. I've got some great friends. I don't have a lot of manpower. I try to run a business as well as deal with this going on every day. But like a good student, I tried to follow along this conference as best I could, understand a lot of the acronyms, ask questions where I could. So I kind of want to recap on what has transpired to me since yesterday. We opened up with Carl saying, you know, why are we here? Why are we at this conference? Well, I'm here as a landowner. More likely, one of your first responders to report a leak in one of your major pipelines. In 2012, Inside Climate News did a report hot mic.
Can't help it.
Still okay, the buzzing? Yeah. So in 2012, Inside Climate News did a report from data collected from a government, and I'm sorry I don't have the government agency on here, and I am quoting this, and I can pull it up if you want to email with me if you're not sure, but 5% of leaks are detected by monitoring equipment. 22% of leaks detected are from landowners, 22%. And 66% are detected by construction workers. So these are just some things to ponder over. So we are your first line of offense. We're going to be the ones that are calling, and we're standing at the emergency exit door trying to help you out. Cynthia Quarterman said that there is 200 inspectors for 2.6 million miles of pipelines. This needs to change. I'm a cabinet maker, carpenter contractor. Every stage of home building that I do is overseen in the field. If I'm not in an office, not at the state capitol or Washington, D.C., even though I know that those are regulated there, you can't expect, or you cannot inspect if you're not out in the field. Why are we building or installing more pipelines faster with less inspectors? The old ones still need to be maintained, and we're still building new pipelines. I have a 50-year-old tar sands pipeline that's going to be decaying in my backyard, as well as a new 36-inch tar sands pipeline and a 42-inch high-volume natural gas transmission line. Am I worried? Yes. Cynthia also said there are benefits higher than the cost. Are the benefits higher than the cost of benefit analysis? Well, I can tell you that's what's been sold to us. We need this tar sands pipeline to decrease our dependency of foreign oil, as well as oil from less volatile regions of the world, to keep gasoline prices low. So before I go start talking about climate change, carbon emissions being created by tar sands production, I'll just skip ahead to cost-benefit analysis. Are we, my wife and neighbors, the ones that will lose out to big oil like Enbridge so that others can prosper? I believe we have not, and Enbridge refuses to adequately compensate us for our home depreciation and loss of our dreams. I cannot add on to my home. I couldn't sell my house if I wanted to, I believe. Linda Doherty, if I said that correctly, I apologize, or I hope I said it right. Valves versus connections. Leaks are minimized Minimized, but not eliminated. I know the goal here is to strive for zero leaks. But we, as the landowner, assume that risk. How are we going to do this when we're building bigger pipelines with higher pressures, carrying more tar sands oil? Bill Bird did a nice little chart. He talks about risk management, and it talked about tough calls, consequences, probability, and not on planet Earth as well as not in my backyard. Well, I can say this. It is in my backyard. I have, and when we talk about managing it, I've tried to contact Enbridge. I've sent them emails, I've talked to executives, and I keep getting passed up the ladder, but I don't get my answers. The tough calls. They probably hate dealing with me, but here I am. I've had 2 other pipeline companies approach me since I've been here, wanting to interact with me. I'm not even on their easements, but what they see and want to deal with, they want to help their customers so that they do not have the same situation happen to their clients. Not on planet Earth. Nobody would want this. So make it right. Ed Pulowski, loved your presentation. You should be mayor. You should be mayor for how well you spoke. I've emailed the mayor of Battle Creek. He hunts out at the land where we live. And already, a city of about 40,000 people would like to join in on your mayor's council of pipeline safety and to try to find all of our aging infrastructure. The breakout session for the CATS I attended. The CATS Community Assistance and Technical Team. Christy Murray. These groups need more assistance from the oil companies financially. They are here to help you as well as the landowners. Stop lobbying for more pipelines. Cut them a check instead. All right. I just wanted to say that I've met a lot of great people here today, yesterday. And if I could really read your name off real quick, if you could just raise your hand or stand up real quick and remain standing. Because this was such a great interaction for me. And Ed May and Jacques Leslie, Carolyn Elephant, Linda Farrell, Kevin Sabo, Ann Jarrell, John Jacoby, Austin Yang, Craig Peterson, Harold Winnie, Michael Holmstrom, Robert Whitesides, Randy Stansberry, Linda Phillips, John Joswick, Rebecca Cravens. These are just some of the people, and if I've talked to you and I didn't get your name or your information, I apologize, but please email me and interact with me. It was wonderful meeting you, and I look forward to more communications with you. If there's anybody here from Enbridge, Larry Springer, David Safried, Kelsey Tweed, Gina Jordan, or Mike Garman, please come and talk to me. I came all the way down to New Orleans. You know where I'm at. Thank you.